Jamal's here.
Oh shit!
Special guest. We had technical difficulty due to my fault. So
It's all Joe's fault.
Happy New Year's.
Happy
He's
New
a
Year's,
dick
everyone.
and an asshole.
Yeah.
What else should we call him? Cunt,
Cunt.
bitch.
Barbarian.
Well, just cunt and bitches.
Cunt
Good
and
enough for
bitches,
you.
yeah.
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Scott.
And
Okay.
by the way, I've lost all respect for Joe. As of today, we're not going to go into reasons.
We're not going
why.
to discuss that.
I don't like Joe anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
man.
So you have a master's in.
Yes. Education. Focus on international education specifically. Yes. International education, baby.
And you know
Dude.
a lot about Korean and Japanese history, right?
Yes. yes, I do.
You do.
Yeah. We think
What do
this
you
is
know?
funny because we're repeating a
I
whole
know.
conversation.
What other things are
Yes.
there with? I mean.
Yeah. Okay. So what we were talking about, just to preface this, we were talking
Okay.
about why Korea hasn't like completely forgave Japan for what they did to them, specifically with the comfort women. Yeah. So and again, we were going into like the formal apology, right? So Korea wants a formal apology from Japan, and Japan has technically apologized, but not to Korea specifically. They apologized to all the countries that they took comfort women from and resources and a bunch of other things. Korea wants like a formal apology saying like, hey, we want you to apologize to us and the women and, you know, the men who you conscripted to military service and you did human experiments on and etc. So in Japan's like, nah, we're not, you know, we apologize. We've done enough.
Which we talked about the human experiments last time.
Yeah, human experiments. Yeah, it's a very ugly thing for sure. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like the Japanese are not the only ones who have done it. You know, Germans are, you know,
Right.
infamous for doing
Of
it.
course.
Other
Yeah,
countries, America has done it as well. Like the United States is not, you know. And the thing is that the United States didn't even do it like in during wartime. Like we've done human experiments on African Americans, you know, for a long period of time,
Right.
specifically ones that were incarcerated. So yeah, nobody's innocent in this regard. But Japanese specifically, during this annexation period was. Yeah, Koreans didn't forget.
Yeah.
So
And we were just saying how they wanted a more formal apology, right?
yeah, so a lot of Koreans that I spoke to during my research, they have told me that in the Japanese language, and again, I'm not entirely sure about this, but in the Japanese language, there are two ways to say sorry. The first way is saying I apologize, and I take responsibility for my actions, right? So I'm sorry, this is my fault. As compared to I'm sorry, but that's not my fault, right? So the Japanese apparently apologized in the way that I'm sorry that this happened, but I take no responsibility for these actions, right? I take no responsibility for what has happened. And that's the apology they gave, and that's the apology that Koreans received, and they feel like that's not a sincere apology. From what I've been told, I don't know how true that is, but when you do research like mine, you know, and you do interviews and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you have to go off the things that you were told because that's what they believe, and that's what they think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was told.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, and of course, if you want to verify that information, you need to know Japanese and look at the original statements that was given and
Right,
all those
right.
other things. Yeah.
The thing about Korea is like even now, like politics wise.
Yeah.
Sorry about my voice. I have a little cold.
Yeah, and you're a bitch.
Sorry. And I'm a bitch. Okay. We'll get that out of the way.
Yes. Now that we got that out the way.
All right. Take a deep. Okay.
Yes.
So like Korean when they have like those joint country meetings.
Yes.
You know where they talk about like shit. How do we resolve this like North Korean problem? Right.
Yes.
So joint allies like come together.
Yeah.
Have these like discussions and shit. Every time they do that, Japan is always on the side of like, yeah, I think that a war with North Korea will be okay.
Right.
Because like, you know, if you remember correctly, like from the Korean War, after the Korean War, Korea became like
Separated.
the poorest country on the planet.
Right.
We like the yearly annual salary was like $65.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
Yeah,
how
it's pretty
fucking
rough.
poor Korea was.
And they're also
They say
split
that-
too. That's where North and South Korea
Yeah,
happened
so
after
like-
the Korean
Right.
War.
Didn't
the
they say
Russians took. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the Russians / Soviet Union
Yeah,
took
exactly.
the North, and then America essentially took the
Right.
United
Right.
States, I should say. The United States took the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
didn't
then
they
you kinda
say
see
the
how-
GDP was lower than Ghana's? Like at
Yeah,
that
it was,
point?
it
time?
was
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it was
post-war.
the lowest in the world.
Oh, really?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
It's fucking crazy, man.
meanwhile, like Japan got fucking butt rich.
Right.
Because then, like, you know, they were the only like country in Asia where you could the U.S. could like import goods and export shit. They had their base there. And basically, they sold a shit ton of war. Like, they made a bunch of weapons and shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they learned a lot from like human experiments.
and shit.
Yeah.
And then they started selling like expensive medicine.
Yes.
And that's how Japan got fucking rich.
Yeah, Japan got rich off a lot of things for sure. Yeah.
Off a lot of things.
A lot of things from
especially
war?
The Korean War.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So now,
Well, because you got to remember, they took a lot of resources, like a ton of
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
And one of the things that people talk about too is like, oh yeah, well, Japan actually helped Korea in a lot of ways, in terms of education and in terms of like building railroads, and infrastructure and stuff like that. But like, it wasn't to really help Korea; it was to kind of just extract resources primarily. Yeah. So
they had their own intentions.
Yeah.
it's like the war, the 9/11, like there's like the controversy, was it the war for oil?
Yeah, or
like
is it
that,
war
same
for like
shit.
WMDs? Yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, Japan definitely made a pretty penny for sure.
So even when they have those joint those like committee meetings they always push for war again, like war to happen. Like meanwhile, if we have a war now for like Korea,
Yeah.
we're fucked. We can't ever come back, like, because the only reason why we're this big is because of like Samsung, LG,
Yeah.
and like electronic companies. But if war happens and everything just becomes rubble again,
Yeah.
there's like no coming back. We're just gonna be like the poorest country again.
Really?
And from
I don't
then
know.
on,
Does Japan really tout like going to war while they're in the UN meetings and
Yes.
stuff like that? Really?
yes, they
Didn't know
definitely give signs like that to Trump, like, yo, listen, you should fucking do the war.
Really?
So
Wait. Oh, really?
yeah,
They want.
yeah, because there are a lot of people in America too vouching for war to happen.
Yeah,
like,
that's
Oh.
let's
that's
just stop
facts.
this. Let's just
For the
stop.
United States,
With-
yeah,
with
absolutely.
North
Because
Korea?
the United
Yeah.
States make a ton of money off of war.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
They've always have. They
But
always will.
I mean, I'm sure Japan would make some money, but I really don't see them. I mean, they don't even have like a military like that. They're not allowed.
But they will make money off of like
Making weapons
Korea
and stuff.
becoming
Yeah,
poor
that's
again.
true.
Because look at Sony's just gone now because Samsung, like those like major electronic companies used to be all Japanese, but now it's like Korean. So they will definitely profit a lot from like a war against for like Korean war.
But Korea would too, though. I mean, Korea. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be. There would definitely be some.
If we're not destroyed by the nukes.
yeah.
But does
true.
it make sense for North Korea to nuke its, the neighbors?
Of
like
course.
In my
South
opinion,
Korea?
no. In my opinion, no.
I mean, the radius of
It makes no sense. Yeah.
the radiation from the explosion,
Yeah.
it's just gonna fuck them.
But
So
And you
why
also have to-
why would they drop
You also
that
have to
shit?
keep in mind that ideally, a lot of people want to be reunified again. North and South Korea, there's a lot of people who want to be reunified
Because
again.
then
There are
think of
multiple
much- yeah.
reasons why
There are
the reunification hasn't
thousands
happened.
of reasons
Yeah.
why it should happen.
But, so in my opinion, I don't
think,
think it would benefit North Korea to nuke South Korea
Hmm.
because, like you said, the vicinity is very close. But in
Yeah.
addition to that, the fallout could last lots of years depending on what type of weapon they use. And you're not going. That's a whole section of South Korea that you're not going to be able to use.
But
South Korea is not that big of a country. You need every resource.
Yeah, like you're talking
to
about in terms
utilize.
of agriculture, right? Like
Right.
for fucking food.
Absolutely.
Like
Like,
everything's gonna be tainted.
why would you nuke Seoul? Seoul is a huge powerhouse.
Yeah.
An economic powerhouse. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to do it.
But the thing is, if like America declares war against North Korea,
Yeah.
they're not gonna shoot a nuke all the way to the United States. They have like
that's true.
They have
agree.
so much. Dude, it can't even reach America, to be honest, man. They have so
I
much.
thought they
like,
said they have
radars
the
and shit.
capability.
No,
They have
they
the
say-
capability of reaching the mainland. Maybe
Yeah,
like,
I don't believe that shit. Either.
maybe like
Yeah.
Hawaii. I don't know. Like
Yeah, I
Guam.
don't. Okay, so
Guam,
here's the thing.
you know
Here's
what
the
I'm
thing.
saying?
I can see the argument why they would want to nuke Seoul. I just don't think it makes a logical sense. But there's a lot of people who don't apply logic, so it could happen. With that being said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that North Korea has the capabilities to hit the United States mainland.
No.
Whatever the fuck that is going to be translated as. But they could, hypothetically speaking, probably hit Guam or Japan, right? And it can also hit U.S. military bases, which we have all over the world. So that could be considered mainland if people want to translate it that way.
And there's so many detection technology that people don't really know about in America. They've devised like so much shit where they can detect like missiles, nuclear weapons, anything foreign objects coming at them from like miles and miles away. So it's like they have so many prevention methods too.
Yeah.
So
And
What about the whole thing-
My theory.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say my theory was that if North Korea was going to nuke anybody, it would be Japan.
It would be Japan.
It would be Japan because North Korea and South Korea equally hate Japan the same way.
Right.
Okay, because at that time, North Korea and South Korea weren't two different countries; it was one country.
Yeah.
Right. They both hate the Japanese equally.
Yeah.
The Chinese is next, so it goes Japanese first, Chinese is next.
that's true.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The thing is though that like
So I think they would nuke Japan because at that point you would not only one hurt the Japanese, which they totally detest, but two, also the United
US
States.
bases are
There's
there.
lots of U.S. bases there, and those U.S. bases are probably one of the most dangerous U.S. bases, of course.
Yeah.
Not taking into consideration the ones that we have in Seoul. So
Yeah.
then you would be saving
It's like
Seoul in South Korea,
two
but
birds with
you
one
would still
stone.
be causing damage. That's my theory. Hopefully
Yeah.
none of this shit ever happens.
Hopefully
by the
none
way.
of this
Yeah,
shit-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that would be my theory. Like if we were gonna do like war games and shit, that's what I think would happen.
they would probably shoot like I think that they're gonna probably shoot Korea first because they've been doing training sessions like fucking like crazy right now in
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah.
Like those joint U.S. and Korea those training sessions.
Yeah.
So they know that we're gonna fire like if they attack America or any other of our allied countries, right?
Right.
They're gonna go for Korea first, I think, because like they have no choice. Like, 'cause they know that if they fire Japan, we're gonna fire at them.
Right.
But they're pretty much unprotected then because we're gonna fire first. So it's like Russian roulette, basically, right? It's like, like hopefully this bullet doesn't hit us. We can hit it first. It's just a game of like tag. I don't know.
It could be
It's
like
a
that.
fucking interesting.
I think they would defend.
Mhm.
I think they would defend because obviously, with the bases that are in Seoul, they they're going to attack. But I think North
Yeah.
Korea would be defending against those attacks while attacking. I don't think they would nuke again. Like I don't think they would nuke Seoul. I think they would maybe nuke Japan, for example, and then fend off the attacks from South Korea, and then maybe try to invade South Korea with other,
Probably with missiles, I
other
think,
weapons,
yeah.
missiles and things
Nuke would
like
probably
that.
not be their first choice.
I don't think nuke would be
Yeah.
the first choice at
No.
all.
What about with
Because
Thawed?
again, because they could gain so much more resources from Seoul, and they could just think like, "Hey, we're just going to destroy everything so nobody gets it," right? Which is a thought process.
That's the thing.
Which is they can do that, but I don't think it would be in their best interest. But we're also not taking into consideration the fact that I don't think North Korea has any real
I don't think
capabilities
so.
to
That's
conduct
why-
a
this
war.
is what I'm saying. This
At
is what
all,
I'm
they
saying.
can barely sustain the population in their own
Yeah.
country.
So that's what they say. Like, if we do get into war,
They
have,
would be eradicated. Like
the
pretty
Korean-
quickly.
like, I talked
within
to
30
some-
minutes, actually.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
did you talk
serious.
to some Korean people? They're like,
Fuck
if
yeah.
they're gonna start a war, then they have to finish it within like, a
No,
short
they're
amount of
gonna
time.
be
because
finished within 30 minutes.
They're
I'm
gonna
serious.
go all out like kamikaze style because
Right.
they can't hold out a war.
Yeah.
They're just gonna
There's no
die
way.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen from that dude with the fucking how long was it? 16 centimeters or 32 centimeter
Oh,
fucking the parasite
shit, you see
worm
shit?
Yeah.
in his intestine
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
because of shit, like
Yeah.
human shit
Yeah.
on their food. Yeah. But yeah, man. Or it's a bad case of tossing the salad too much. I don't know what it is. But,
It could be that. Yeah.
could be that too. In that
Yeah, it
case,
could
I
be.
gotta check myself.
That might be a good idea.
Now?
I mean, yeah. I mean, human shit is good for growing food, though. But
It's always been
Is it
used-
really?
Yeah.
Oh, but
Yeah,
it's
it's good
got
for
there's a
fertilizer.
method to it. You got to sanitize that shit first,
yeah, there's
right?
a way to do it.
There's a
of course,
processing. There's a process to it. But
Yeah.
obviously, they don't have the capability.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
My fucking decades ago, they didn't have any methods. They just fucking.
They're literally taking a squat on the
Yeah.
fucking crop.
yeah, on your lettuce that you eat like the next day.
Yeah.
Kimchi with shit on it.
If you want to hear something interesting though, apparently there you can find North Korean women like prostitutes like towards the border of China, and like
Giving themselves to Chinese men
yeah,
so they can cross the border.
yes, amongst other
Oh.
things too. But apparently
Probably.
they work there, and then they can be prostitutes, and they can defect that way because a lot of North Koreans apparently defect through China first, and then they might go to
Yeah.
other countries and then come to South Korea, or they might just stay in one of those countries. Yeah.
So that's one of the ways to go into prostitution
It's
in
possible.
China.
Yeah, from what I've been told, I don't know how true this is.
Oh,
yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah,
I
and then
guess.
apparently like it was very popular with Russians because a lot of Russians, I guess, like North Korean women. So
Oh,
Wait, what? Oh, really?
I thought it was all the
There's
way
a
around.
demand.
Yeah.
Uh,
no. Like
Oh.
it's,
For
it's
for Nor-
Chinese
for
too.
North
So
Korean.
Chinese men and North Korean.
Chinese men for sure.
Chinese
because,
men and Russian men can get to North Korean women.
Right.
Yeah.
because a lot of them
Sure.
would. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of them would escape to China first.
Yes.
And then that's fucking DMZ where you can't come to Korea. It's like suicide.
Yeah.
That one soldier was lucky as fuck.
There
Yo,
was
he did
another
get lucky
one.
as shit. Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one.
lucky
Oh,
as
really?
fuck.
Right after.
Oh,
There was
really?
another
right
one
after.
The guy was like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
he made it. I can
Maybe-
make it too."
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
Maybe a month after.
Kim Jong Un's like, yo, what the fuck y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
And so that's my
Let's
point.
tighten our
How does
shit.
that other one slip? Like, how did that go?
listen to Jamal's
so
point.
dumb.
Like, their security is like ridiculous. They don't have it.
They're probably really hungry and
They
tired.
don't have shit.
And they probably don't give a shit.
It's all a front.
It
It's a
is
fucking
front,
show.
dog.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a
watch-
fucking little. It's a
a
show.
little-
Well, actually,
it's
it's
a
funny
little-
that you mentioned that because a lot of people believe that Kim Jong Un is bullshitting because he was
I
he was
believe
like
that.
About
Western
what?
he was like Western educated.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like Western
in, like,
educated.
Switzerland or something.
Yeah. So
What?
apparently
He
he
was?
was.
Yeah, in like Switzerland.
There are some people who
He went to
believe
some, like,
that Kim
boarding
Jong
school there?
Un just literally just wants to be a dictator, and he's just putting off a show. But he's like very liberal. Yeah, but he has to act like this asshole apparently. Like I don't know.
So it's like the movie Interview where he's just like,
You never
yeah,
know.
exactly. Yeah,
You
Yeah,
never know in this
know.
crazy world.
yeah,
man, like
anybody,
he's like
Donald
good,
Trump is president. Like, what else is doing?
and
That's
he's
true.
and
What
he's
else is
good
gonna
friends
happen?
with Dennis Rodman too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's fucking weird, man.
It's
in this world we
I don't
live in.
I think it would be very interesting to like read an autobiography by Kim Jong Un. Putin too. That would be super.
Oh, like an
interesting.
autobiography. Like he writes his own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be
Him and
super
Putin.
cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm not validating any of their actions or anything, of course, but I think it'll be interesting to kind of get into their mind and what they
Yeah.
were thinking and their perspective. Yeah, I think that would be cool. But yeah,
Alright,
I mean,
well.
it wouldn't surprise me if Kim Jong Un is just like this guy. He's just like this chill motherfucker who just smokes weed.
He just smokes pot all day,
and
like
fucks North Korean girls all day, like
or Russian or
Russian or anybody.
Or anybody.
That's probably what he does. To be
Yeah.
honest with you. What would you do as a dictator? Drink all day, fuck all day, eat all day.
Yeah.
That's probably
Shit
and
all
smoke
day.
all day. Shit all
Shit
day.
all
Shit on
day?
the crops.
That's probably what you would do. Yeah.
Just
And I don't care
fling
what
your shit
anybody
on the
says.
crops.
Anybody who's like a dictator or like the leader of their country would probably be doing the same shit. You're going to take advantage of that situation.
of course.
Of course, you're going to have some people who would like definitely try to improve the country and their situation.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But there's also going to be people who are like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm the master around this bitch.
Yeah.
So give me what I want. Yeah.
no, how about not? Like,
Yeah, how
come
about
on.
That's
that?
the thing with people, man. Once you get that like position of power, yo, man, never.
Power,
know. That's
power,
why.
Do you
power
feel-
corrupts absolute. Power
Do you-
corrupts absolutely.
Do you feel
Exactly.
that? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like is that a human nature? Like, is this an absolute thing you feel?
We see it every day.
That's
People
the
with
philosophical
money.
question.
People with money. What do you?
But not all people with money are bad though.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you
so
got a choice.
we're talking about
though.
money
I mean,
and power here. Power is different from just money, right? So like,
But typically
Money is
they're
power.
associated with each
typically
other.
they are
Yeah.
associated because
Come on, man. Scarface. Come on, duh.
What are you doing, man? Scarface was the shit.
Yeah,
Boats,
well-
blow, models. Come on, man.
Okay.
Anyways,
Do you feel like that?
do I feel like what?
Like money with, especially money, right? If you know
Yeah.
powerful people
Hmm.
and they like have your back and shit, like does that make you into like a monster?
I've
Depends on what you
definitely-
do.
I mean,
What are you doing? With
I
that
think
money?
just generally speaking, money will change your perspective because
Absolutely.
you're able to do more things. You're
Yes.
able to see more things.
Yes.
And you just change. Not only you change yourself, but everyone around you, like people around you, they're changing, right? Because like it's not like your child, you're like hanging out with the same people. You're meeting people from, you know, what I mean, that you would have never met if you didn't
Yeah.
have money. You know what I mean? So it's just totally different. You're seeing, you're changing. You're definitely evolving into something else. Whether if
fucking
it's
scary if
for
you
the
think about
better
it.
or whether it's for the good.
If you
Yeah.
accumulate wealth.
I
you
agree
can
with
snort-
that.
You
I
can
mean, I
snort
think-
coke off of a girl's ass, or you know,
that sounds
you could.
wonderful.
I know. Actually, depends on how you look at
sounds
that
great.
too.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Position of power, man. So
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I definitely think like if you have money or you're automatically going to think about these opportunities, right? Now that I have money, what can I do with it, right? Now, sometimes those those things that you think of might be good or bad, but of course, good and bad is
Dude, I'm really fucking up today.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really fucking up
But
in every way.
sometimes like good
Keep
and
going.
bad is relative,
Yeah.
right? So
Today's just not my day.
What may be good to you is bad to me, for example. So yeah, I don't know, man. It depends. I mean, I know what I would do if I had money.
You know what you would do?
Yeah, I mean, I know like half the things I would do.
No, but that's the thing. You know what you would do.
I would know like
Would
half
you-
the things I would
But
do.
would you really execute that? You know what I mean? Everyone has a plan until it actually like
Until
you're
it actually
there. You know what I
happens.
mean?
Yeah.
Then
Oh, great. Here we go.
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the tangents. I'm ready.
Number one.
Give me my scenario. I've been waiting for this ever since what was it Crystal's episode?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I'm like,
About
yo, I
dating a
want a
gangster.
scenario like that. That sounds
Would you
wonderful.
date a guy
I'm
who
just saying,
kills
man.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
never
yeah.
know, man. That's
That's
what
good.
I'm
That's
saying.
a good point, though. I mean, once you're put in that situation,
Yeah.
you're not entirely sure how you're going to react.
Like you watch a movie and you're like, oh, I would be a hero. I would do this. I'd
Yeah.
do something like that.
Right.
But when you're actually there, you'd be like,
You're like, oh, fuck.
you know, you'd be charged for treason because you're
Yeah.
running like a
bitch.
bitch from war.
Yeah, it's a good.
You're like,
point.
I'm not
Christ.
fighting.
Yeah.
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 Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
It's a very good point. Yeah.
So it's the New Year's, right?
Yes, sir.
It is?
Yep.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
shit.
Not-
Happy New
Today is
Year's.
the last day
Well, yeah.
of 2017, motherfucker.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Time to leave all the fucking.
Kind of late, but like, cheers.
cheers, brothers.
Happy New Year's
Happy
to
New Year's,
everybody.
everybody. Yeah.
Say
Well, I
goodbye
guess on
goodbye
our-
to
on
all the
our-
ratchet shit you've
On our
done.
time zone, I guess.
Yeah.
So what are some plans you got?
It's gonna be like 8. What is it? 8 a.m. our time. And
EST?
then- no. What time will it be? Midnight in the United States.
Well, over here?
Yeah.
That'll be like 2 p.m. next day.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
So we're 14 hours ahead right now.
Oh, damn. You're right.
So,
So we might be knocked the fuck out. Oh no, I can't be knocked the fuck out.
well, what,
Nah,
what
we're
time?
going-
What time?
We're manning
My
through
train's
this
at
shit.
2 o'clock. I think.
Nah, you're straight.
What an
What are
asshole.
some What are some New Year's resolutions you got, brother?
Oh, I don't do resolutions.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You don't believe
in that
resolutions?
shit.
It's not that I don't believe in it. It's just I personally don't do them.
Yeah.
I think some people can do make resolutions and follow through with them, and I think some people can't. I'm one of those people who can't. Now, with that being said, though, I have goals, but I don't have resolutions. Resolutions for me is kind of like something that's like,
Aren't
It's something- it's-
resolutions goals? Or-
in my opinion, no. But I think some people could say like they're the same though,
Uh-huh.
like they're the same definition.
Oh, so what's your definition?
In my opinion, resolutions are something that you do every year. Like it's a New Year's
Oh.
resolution, right? For me, I have goals, whether they be short-term goals or long-term goals, but I don't renew them every year. I have them set, and I can add on to them or take them off, depending on my situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have a list of things that I want to accomplish this year, but not just this year. It's just continue in general,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they go every year, like
And
they
I
carry
think
over
that's
year to
how
year.
it should be for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to continually like grow yourself as a person.
Yeah,
And like, but you know, sometimes we do need a reminder, and
Yes.
there could be certain triggers. So like, this could be one of them for you guys. So
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me personally, I have goals that I always update, and when I say always update, that means adding to or taking from. But resolutions, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, in 2018, I'm going to do this. It's like, no, I'm going to do this, period.
Right.
Right? That's it.
Oh, so like in 2018, this is my list of like.
Yeah, I don't do
shit.
that shit. It's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, so it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this year.
Because it's not
and
the
then
new
stop
year.
it next year. I'm,
Right,
yeah,
right.
you know what I'm saying?
Like, this is from
Yeah.
now on.
Yeah.
Continuing on
Continuing on. Yeah. So
past the 2018 shit.
yes. Yeah. So that's how I look at it. But I always commend people who make resolutions and follow through with them because I know it's not easy. So yeah, more power to you guys. Yeah, if you guys do them. What are yours? Yeah, what did you guys make them? It's okay.
I have a tendency to be a yes man. So like people tell me like, oh, like they suggest or something like let's do this.
Gotta say no, baby.
I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But from now on, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna try to like stop that a little bit.
Yeah.
what I'm
Sometimes
saying?
you just gotta say I'm busy.
Yeah.
Or-
Or like no.
Yeah, just say no.
It's
Yeah.
just easy as a no.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to be the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
hard.
was the one who told me, she was like, yo, bro, you gotta chill out.
Yo,
Mom
bitch.
called
Say
you out.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no.
So what
sometimes,
you're
huh?
saying is we have like a solid 3 or 4 hours of you saying yes, and then you're gonna start saying no after that.
What is this, like a
Sojo.
test? This is a
Whose
fucking
dick
test.
are you gonna suck?
Oh
first?
my god.
Oh, shit.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so there you go. That's one. That's good. What else do you have?
I have like I'm like most of my goals are like financial goals.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna save up
Should
like
be everyone's.
yeah.
like
yeah.
this amount of money by the end of next year.
Yeah,
some
man.
shit like that.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to do that, every month
Yep.
I make this amount of money. I gotta be able to save like shit like
Yeah.
that.
You
Of
got
course,
you
yeah.
gotta make
Financial goals,
adjustments. Yeah.
Shit
Yeah.
every single year. you
Yeah,
know?
man.
Are you gonna sell,
Find
sell
ways
your
to-
body to make some of these goals happen?
Oh,
I feel like he could actually.
yeah, he could definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
some
shit,
gays
yeah?
would, some girls would definitely.
Oh, yeah?
Or, yeah. Or guys would pay for
I
your.
love how you
fee.
say it with such a straight face.
Or A.
Ooh.
What?
Oh, boy. Why are you
He's like,
holding
yes,
up?
man. How much money you got? bro? How much is in your
I
bank
can't
account?
afford him.
God damn.
Jesus Christ. It's just 101, bitch.
I am curious. Is there? That's it? No, shit. I might pay for a personal show later. No, but I'm actually curious. Are there like male stripper places here?
They're called Mr. Korea.
Oh, really?
Oh, you're
But-
definitely Mr.
So he
Korea.
knows. So he knows.
But
Okay.
they are like they're not like the exotic, like, oh shit, this is like a strip club. They're like kind of funny.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, it's
Fun,
like a
funny
show.
in what sense? Okay.
Okay, so a performance.
Yeah, it's like
little
a
bit.
performance, and they will like invite guests to the stage and be like, hey, like I'm gonna dance on you. And like he'll make her do some shit. Like,
Okay.
can you like
Sounds whack for the girls.
Yeah. So we can
can
make
you
our
can
own.
you smack my ass
Yeah.
while I do some shit? I don't know. He'll like
That's whack. Let's do our own. Let's make our own.
Let's do it.
And we can just have Joe, and then we can hire more people.
Jesus Christ.
Let's exploit his ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
You could use
Yes.
my room as a.
Jeez.
you know,
Louis.
the
No,
after party.
We need like a small. we need like a small building, and we need like a stage.
Yo, he's already thought this through.
So dark.
We can make some money off his ass.
Jeez,
Literally.
literally.
Best way to start the new
Literally.
year.
What an
Yes.
asshole.
Yes.
Literally.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
There you go.
Hey,
I like
man.
that.
Motherfucker.
Yes, I like that.
I'll do what you got to do.
No, I just feel like you can make money that way, and you should use that. It's a good advantage.
I don't know. I wonder how much they make.
Anyway.
Sorry,
Why don't they have strip clubs in Korea?
they don't.
Like
I don't think so.
Thailand?
Oh,
Was Keith the one that told us this? Where like they shoot balls out of their vaginas?
yo,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that shit. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny.
What the hell is that about?
By
like,
the way, that probably takes a lot of skill.
Yeah. It's pretty
they, like,
much
shoot into a
queef
cup,
out
right?
of their V.
Yeah.
And so it blows air. So
Ooh,
like you're.
God.
But the thing is, they do it with accuracy.
Yeah.
Like that cyborg fight with Holly Holmes. That was fucking accurate, motherfucker.
yeah, but she's not shooting balls out of her vagina. So like
That's
You
true.
don't
It's a
know
little
that
bit-
shit. She
it's a-
does Muay Thai, motherfucker.
that has nothing to do.
I guess that's
with
possible.
vagina
Yeah.
shooting
Possible.
balls.
We can send her an
Hey,
email like,
man.
hey, just out of curiosity, can you do this?
You don't know that shit.
So during your
She'll
next
probably
fight,
just clamp onto the fucking ping pong ball and just crush it. You know what I mean?
Ah,
I believe that shit.
Holmes got a nice ass though.
she does.
She
It's true.
does.
Yeah.
I
She's
mean,
a
the face,
beast.
but yeah.
She's a beast. They're both
Yeah.
beasts.
Yeah, they are.
We just watched this fight. Holly Holmes, Chris Cyborg fight was
UFC
amazing.
219,
It
yeah.
was good.
Cool as fuck, man.
Very good. I want to watch the Carlos Condit and the.
Yeah, me too, man. Carlos
Magby
Condit is a
fight.
fucking animal. If you
Yo, the Khabib
Those-
fight,
you
co
watch that.
event.
You watch that shit?
No, I haven't watched it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he fucked his ass
I might
up.
watch it tomorrow on the train back home. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
guys,
a good
if you
idea.
guys didn't watch UFC 219, please
it out.
tune it. Check
No
it
spoilers.
out.
Dude,
Spoiler, spoiler.
The last UFC was sick
Oh,
though.
oops.
Or was it 218 or 217?
Which one? Where Bisping got his ass handed to him?
Yeah, that was every single fight.
Every
of that
one of
UFC
them,
was
the
amazing.
Oh, yeah,
underdogs.
yeah.
They all took
lost
over
the
it.
belt.
Yeah,
they all
they
lost
all
the
lost
belt.
the belt. That's so crazy.
What the
It's like the
fuck,
domino
dude?
effect.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I think the most surprising for me was, what's her name? Joanna?
Joanna
Oh my
I forgot her
God.
last name.
Because she was so dominant. She was like
Dude, she was
one
a-
more fight away
was
from
such a-
beating Ronda Rousey's record.
She was
of,
such a bully though, man. She was like in her face, like,
who cares, man? You
Yeah,
gotta be.
yeah.
You gotta be.
Yeah.
and Rose.
You're too
is-
weak for the fight game, bro.
Oh shit, Rose is just like, fuck you got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she
knocked
almost
her out,
seemed
man.
high. Like,
She might have been.
yeah, I don't
She
know.
might have been.
No idea.
So how long you gonna be in Korea for, man? You're doing stuff here, right? Doing your masters.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
got your
so-
masters. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, thank you very much. I originally came to do my research and to teach because everybody told me like, yo, Korea is awesome.
Yeah.
You got to go there. And I was like, okay, cool. It would be a good opportunity for me to experience that. I enjoy teaching and I can work on my research at the same time. Cool.
What
So
are
I
some
did
of the
that.
cool things you found out? I mean, some of the things you learned from your research. If you
well, in
could
general,
share.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, my
He's not allowed to share this.
No, of course. I mean, my paper's online. Anybody can read it. Yeah. Yeah. So my research is based around what Koreans generally think and feel about the Japanese, and what did they learn in school that made them feel that way, right? So what essentially shaped their perspectives in school, in public school, that made them think about Japan. Now, this could be positive or negative. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, but the research showed that 99.9% of the time it was negative. Which, of course, considering the history, it makes sense.
From school or from their parents or from?
So from my research showed that it was from public school and the media primarily.
Oh.
Yeah. So some of their biggest influences were public school and the media. Of course, their family played an influence as well as friends and there's a few other factors. But school, which isn't surprising because they spend the majority of their time in school. In the media isn't also surprising as well because the media is very broad, right? We're talking about news. We're talking about social media, for example.
A whole bunch of shit.
Lots of shit. So with that being said, a lot of Koreans don't like the Japanese still, which again makes sense. However,
what about you're talking about what about the younger generation? If we're just to talk about the younger generation,
the people that I interviewed were primarily millennials, so they had to have graduated high school within the past 7 years. So the age range is from 18 to 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or generally speaking, like Korean age 19 to 26. So
right.
within that age range. So yes, I am primarily interviewing millennials, and the younger generation still don't like Japan, and because they are taught that in school.
Yeah, they are.
However, I will say that people who traveled more and had interactions with Japanese people or have traveled to Japan tend to either be neutral or tend to actually like them.
Yeah,
which
because it puts a face on them.
Yes, it puts a face on them. It makes them more personable, of course, and and they look at them more as people rather than like the enemy, right? Rather than like these evil individuals. Yeah. So,
do you ask them how do you evaluate whether they dislike Japanese people or not?
They tell me.
They just.
Well, I ask them questions, of course. Like I elicit information from them. So I would ask them simple questions like, "Hey, what did you learn in school about the Japanese? Right? What did you learn about Japan? What do you think about Japanese people today? Have you had any interactions with them? Have you gone to Japan?" Like I ask them very broad questions, and then I just allow them to answer. And then what I would do is just ask follow-up questions. Just trying to gain more information from them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not trying to lead them. As a researcher and as somebody who's conducting research and interviews, you're not supposed to lead them. It's just not ethically correct.
Yeah.
So how much do you hate Japanese?
You're trying to stay.
Yeah, that is a bad idea. But asking a simple question like, "Hey, what do you think about the Japanese?" is pretty good enough.
Yeah.
And I always told them in the beginning of my interviews, I'm not looking for any specific information.
Right.
I just want the honest truth.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, and
okay.
I just go from there.
Cool.
And it's backed up by other research, of course, reading articles, reading the history, as we talked about a little bit earlier, the news, and, there's lots of other things. So,
Damn, so, but that was your thesis, right? So you got
Yes.
your master's in...
Yes. So Masters of Arts in International Education from SIT Graduate Institute. And, that was my thesis.
Damn, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've written lots of other papers, of course, but that's my main thesis. I spent a full year researching that.
Shit.
Yeah.
So
It's like a 56-page paper.
Oh my God, I can't imagine myself writing a 56-page.
It took a while. Yeah. It took a
So
while.
this is my question. So a lot of people do get masters in a certain field.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that are jobs a lot more available if you do have a master's?
Yes.
What is the percentage of you having?
Yeah, so I think statistically speaking, if you have a master's, you definitely have a higher percentage. I don't know the exact number, the precise number, but you do have a higher percentage if you have a master's. The field differs.
Yeah.
So if you have a master's in engineering, obviously you're gonna have a much better opportunity of getting a job than a master's of education, for example. But it really depends. It depends on which area that you're in, which area, which country, for example. What are your language capabilities? Do you want to stay domestically? Do you want to travel internationally? It's all up to the person and what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. But considering the fact that science, engineering, computer science, for example, all of these degrees, STEM degrees, are more sought after as compared to liberal arts and humanities like education, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, even though I have a higher chance, I probably can find a job, but it may not pay me as much as I want, as compared to like a computer science
Right,
individual.
right.
Yeah, which is just that's just the way.
That's all right.
That's
but
just the way
That's
it
just the
is.
economy,
Yeah.
baby. You know,
Yep.
that's just business.
Yep.
So
But you're planning to get another master's in marketing, right?
considering, yes,
So what's up?
yeah.
Just to
So
market it.
yeah. So
You
in
can
terms
market
of
us.
yeah, I could. Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
In terms of goals, like one of my possible goals that I'm still, pondering about is getting an MBA. So that would definitely increase my opportunities and my portfolio here in Korea, because I'm going to stay in Korea for a couple more years. So
Yeah.
one of the things I'm trying to figure out is like, okay, do I want to just chill and pursue my own things, which I have a long list of, or should I pursue another master's and then have a master's in education, my bachelor's degree in politics, my master's in business? Like, I'll be 29 or 30 years old if I do the MBA. So I'll finish and I'll have that experience in education. So I could pretty much do anything at that point. But I don't know yet. We'll see.
You studied a lot about Korean history. Can I ask you about like Dokdo?
Dokdo. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah. What is it? It's what is it in Japanese?
Takeshima.
Takeshima,
Yeah.
right? And that's the island that they're fighting over.
Yeah. So they're also known as the Lion Court Rocks, Takeshima Islands, and then Dokdo Islands. Yes.
So what is it like? What do you think? Is it Korea's territory or Japan's territory? Because I have no idea about
To be
that
honest
shit.
with you, it's not my place to say. Then, in addition to that, historically speaking, there's been claims to those islands by multiple countries, but definitely between.
Oh, really? Multiple countries?
Yeah,
Well,
but
Russia?
definitely between Russia, not that I know of.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you look in the Korean history and the Japanese history specifically, both of those histories and governments have laid claim to those islands. So it's not as simple as like, oh, well, Dokdo Islands belongs to us as of like 100 years ago. Like, no, this goes back way farther than that, apparently. I don't know Korean or Japanese to actually go farther back in the history to look. But for anybody who does, and you know Korean, Japanese, and Chinese, which is very important, you can look at the histories and you'll see that there's quite a few countries that lay claim to Dokdo Islands. Now, with that being said, I don't think Dokdo Islands is especially important.
It's not.
Economically speaking,
No.
resource speaking.
Oh, I thought they said there's a lot of like resources.
There's no resources.
Oh,
there.
really?
There are some, but not a lot.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Apparently, there are. It's a good fishing island, or
It's
islands.
a bunch of fishermen live there.
Yeah, and there may be some other there are some natural resources there, and there may be some natural gases there, which could be not exploited, but taken advantage of, I guess you could say. But nothing significant, apparently. Now, with that being said, I think Dokdo Islands has more of a cultural significance than it does an economic significance. And there's also been studies that have shown, and articles that have been written, that a lot of Koreans believe that Japan is going to invade Korea again via Dokdo.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so that's just a common belief, I guess.
Wait, really?
I don't know how true
That's
that
the first
is.
time I heard that.
Yeah, there's some articles written about it. You can look it
Really?
up. Yeah. Now, for me, I don't care.
Yeah.
It is my job as a researcher to stay neutral.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me, but I will say that both Japan and Korea seem to have legitimate claims
Yeah.
over Dokdo Islands. I don't know which one's right. I don't know which one's accurate. So that's up to everybody else to figure out.
You ever take the subway from like the airport to Hongdae, the airport line?
No.
Yeah, they have like on the monitors. They have their little propaganda there.
Yeah. So
you
there's-
see that?
There's a lot of
They're
Korean
like-
propaganda. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
Yeah.
like
Which is
Dokdo
another-
is Korea's islands,
Yes.
and I don't know how I feel about that because I did have to pick up my Japanese friends like once or twice.
Yes.
And he's like, his head is literally right beneath the monitor.
Right.
And I'm
right.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's awkward.
Yeah, so propaganda is a very important thing. That was also in my paper because a lot of students and people in general, like general
Pretty
citizens,
aggressive, man. I'm just saying.
propaganda is pretty prominent with Dokdo specifically.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a Dokdo song
There is a Dokdo song.
There
There's
is?
a Dokdo song that is
How does it
actually,
go?
that is
I don't know.
actually
You don't know?
used in public
That's my
schools.
dad.
Yeah, that is actually used in public schools and other schools as well. That a lot of students learn when they're young, and they still remember when they're older. It's crazy.
What?
My
So-
kids know it.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it's very popular. So yes, propaganda exists. It's there definitely, and yeah, it's a weird situation, especially for Japanese.
Koreans are from the beginning of time. They always believe that Dokdo was always part of their country.
Yes,
Like textbook wise, like they just
It's
it's
in
always it's all in there.
it's in there. Yeah, and,
and
they
then
apparently
Japanese people say the same thing.
Yeah.
But
both governments have documents claiming that it is theirs, but like we're like, okay, well, how do we verify these
Yeah,
documents?
yeah.
You know,
the
like,
thing is that like a lot of Japanese scholars, they look at the past history, like, and then they kind of do their records, and then they do their research about records from the past,
yes,
written records and like historical records. And a lot of Japanese scholars, like, they admit that Dokdo is Korean, but like it's been established by the Japanese government for so long that it is a part of their country.
Oh.
But they're like, I'm sorry on behalf of my country, but
we're taking that shit.
we can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been engraved in their
Yeah, it's
culture
been-
that,
it's just there.
that it's theirs for so long.
Oh.
And
I
in terms
see.
of scholars and like, another problem with comfort women, going back to that subject, is that the number of comfort women is often disputed, right? So the general consensus is that 200,000 comfort women, Korean comfort women specifically, that's the number. But there have been people who have said like, no, it's less. No, it's more.
Yeah.
And
I've
then
heard that too, yeah.
so that's a huge problem too, right? Because first of all, like any amount of comfort women is not good. But the other thing is too
It's
that,
wrong, yeah.
that a lot of people don't understand is that some comfort women were sold by their own families, their fathers and brothers.
That's what I heard, and like they were pimps, right?
Yeah, they were pimps.
Yeah.
Because they have no money, yeah.
Yeah, they had no money.
Pimped them out. Pimped our own people, bro.
Yes, other people have also did it because, or other women did it because it was good money, right? Good opportunities. Some women actually were comfort women and then they married Japanese soldiers, for example. So it's not as simple as, oh, well, all of them were taken as sex slaves. All of them were taken against their will, because that's not the case. There are a lot of them that were taken against their will and that were used as purely as sex slaves and treated horribly wrong. Absolutely. That can't be debated. But
There are different
what is
cases,
the correct
right?
number of that?
Yeah.
Right. And actually, I think her name, the professor here, she wrote a book about it. Park Yuha. I don't know how to say her name
Park
correctly.
Yuha?
Park Yuha or something like that. She wrote a book
Shit.
called like Comfort Women, and she actually broke down like the details of like what is correct and what is incorrect based off her research. And she received a ton of backlash, and I think she was like arrested and like sued and like all this other shit. Yeah, because like a lot of people were like, no, she's wrong, and like
Yes, Park Yua.
yeah, there you go. Yep.
Oh, that's
So-
interesting.
Yeah, her book is written in Korean. I want somebody to translate it into English.
Wow.
Also, on that note, I want somebody to.
That's probably the most accurate information out there.
You would have to double check her resources, but
well,
I'm not
yeah.
entirely sure. But yeah, I mean,
that's the only information that's like
well,
that kind of breaks it down.
According to her, and there's other resources as well. I mean, there are records saying that like, yeah, some women did it voluntarily,
Yeah.
and then some women were sold, by their brothers or their
Yeah.
families in general,
Yeah,
fathers. So there's plenty of cases of that. But,
yeah.
The thing is this,
but a
though.
lot of Koreans won't accept it, from what I've been told. They're just
Yeah.
like, no, just the Japanese are guilty,
Yeah.
and that's it.
They don't. Yeah.
So,
But the thing is, I think that they should definitely accept it. And the fact that those are conditions of war.
Yeah.
If you're fucking poor because like,
Consequence of war.
like some country has like conquered you and you literally have like no money anymore.
right.
What the fuck are you gonna do to survive?
Yeah.
Like some
You gotta do what you
you
gotta
gotta
do.
survive. So that's like literally like those are all like different consequences and kind of side effects of war. So
Yeah.
I mean, we were joking earlier, but we were saying like how you would S that D for money. You know what I mean? It kind of. I mean, like.
yeah, we did talk
I'm
about
just
that.
saying.
Why
I know.
S that D? Why can't you just say it?
Suck a dick is what he meant.
You're a grown ass man.
Oh, man. Hey man, I want to keep it clean. All right, brother.
Yo, that's
I haven't
it's
kept it
way
clean.
too late for that.
I haven't kept it clean at all. I'm still an educated individual. Yeah, it's okay. Freedom
We
of
have
speech,
never
baby.
kept
Freedom
this
of
clean.
speech.
But yeah, like what we were talking about before, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Sucking a dick.
Yeah, you
Yes.
got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
But see, and that's the thing. Like, ideally, we would all live in a world where people don't have to do that unless they want to do it, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case.
It's not the case.
And I think we're slowly building to that, but it's just not the case at all. I mean, we were even talking about prostitutes earlier, and there's a lot of prostitutes in Korea, but a lot of them, the majority of them, are not Korean. They come from poorer countries, right? They come from Vietnam. They come from the Philippines specifically. Like that's a large portion. There's a lot of Russian girls, other countries as well. So I mean, there's definitely exploitation on a variety of levels.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, again, I'm not validating Japan's actions because there were a lot of comfort women that were there that were taken against their will, that were raped, etc. So that exists. But there is a point where, Korea as a country should at least acknowledge the fact that, like, hey, not everybody, not everybody was, forcibly taken or against their will.
Right. Of course.
But
You
again,
should acknowledge
that's not my place to say.
Yeah.
I'm an outsider. Again, I'm very new to the culture. I'm very new to the language and the history. Like I'm still a beginner and an amateur, so it's not my place to say. But from my research and from everything that I've seen so far, I would think that would be healthy, and I think that it would be very good for Japan and Korea to move forward together to reconcile and push forward. And actually, Japan and Korea have a really good economic relationship.
Of course, man.
Yeah,
It can be some,
but their
it
political
makes it a lot
relationship
stronger.
isn't really the greatest, So I think once that continues or once that gets better, like things will definitely enhance. So
I mean, the Abe's he's definitely like pushing things to be more, almost like imperialistic,
yeah,
like politically. So a lot of Koreans are like not like they're not for that.
they don't like them. Yeah,
They don't like that shit
true,
because
yeah.
like they're, especially with like the pushing for the war, like they're not. That's not cool. So
That's new to me. I didn't know that. Yeah,
yeah, you can like there's just different things that like Koreans are not. It's there's creating barriers.
yeah,
For
Yeah.
both sides, I think so.
yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like my paper is relatively long, but it's also relatively short. And there's a lot of things that I wasn't really able to touch on as much. And there's, again, I mean, this is such a complex issue that I really want somebody or multiple people to expand on this research or even do their own research and see like what else they find. Because I think it would be really good if people could get the perspectives from the whole generation. I think it would be interesting to see what Japanese feel about the Koreans,
Yep.
for example. Like there's just so much room for like exploration that, it would be super interesting. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. So thanks for asking. It's a
Yes,
really
sir.
interesting subject. Yeah.
Dude, we got a couple more minutes left, so
We do?
Oh shit, really?
yeah,
Well, I don't know what time
Really?
it is.
yeah, we gotta wrap it up soon.
Oh shit. Okay.
We gotta head to the.
What?
Hans.
We got 10 minutes?
That was pretty quick.
We gotta head to the Hans.
I feel like I was talking the whole time. Sorry.
Oh,
we got-
dude, we want you to talk. That's why you're coming
It's
on as
fucking
a
awesome.
guest, man.
Let's do a little longer though, because like this is a good episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, what do you want to
Yeah.
talk about?
Yeah.
This is.
We're gonna
fucking
talk about
So what
stupid
else did you
millennials.
what else did you
Us.
Yeah.
Stupid millennials.
You and me.
Lazy millennials.
what else
Quote,
did you
unquote.
do research on besides like Korea/Japan?
So in
What
my
are some interesting things?
in my degree, you're supposed to do these things called RPQs, which are short papers that are reflecting on different practices that you've had and experiences you've had. So one of them was talking about like white privilege. Well, not necessarily white privilege, but kind of like white privilege and white savior complex, which is essentially like the fact that like, okay, well, to generalize, it's like, oh, well, white people going to like Africa, for example, like different countries of Africa and saving them, like helping them, right?
the White Hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually work for an NGO as well as a grant writer part-time, and I need to put more time towards that actually. And the director of the organization, she's white. She's Caucasian. Now, in my experiences with her, she doesn't seem like a white savior. It doesn't seem like she has that complex, right? She literally just legitimately had lots of experiences while she was in Tanzania, and she wants to help the community. So I think that if you have, just because you're white doesn't mean that you should be automatically attributed with the fact that like, oh, well, she's just a white savior. She's doing this for her own good, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's accurate, and I don't think that would be appropriate to do that.
Yeah.
However, in a lot of cases, there are people who believe that, right? Oh, if you're white and you're going to other countries to help them, then you're automatically a white savior. You have this complex. And I don't think that's accurate. So I argued against that, essentially. What else did I do an RPQ on? Damn, I don't remember. I've written lots of papers while I was in grad school.
Yeah.
I wrote a paper how like the whole education system needs to be revamped significantly, especially in the United States.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
feel like apparently we're not funding enough money to the education system.
No, we're
right?
not. No, we spend
Not at
more
all.
money on war than anything else.
Right,
And when I
of
say
course.
war, I say the defense budget. But my what I would like to do sometime in the future, when I say revamp the whole education system, I would like to create a university or a college that would incorporate vocational training and like formal education, higher education training. So for example, it would be a 5-year degree.
Uh-huh.
And then what you would do is you would choose a vocation, right? You would choose like a trade, like for example, whatever, blacksmithing, right? Like, okay, I'm going to be a blacksmith. Then you would choose your major, let's say English, okay? Then you would also have to learn another language, and then you would have to study abroad in that country where that language is spoken. And while you are studying abroad, you're not only getting vocational training there, so you would learn like their blacksmithing skills, but you would also learn more about English and how it's taught there, for example. So
you're really getting the full experience.
So the full 5-year program is essentially you're getting your major, you're getting a trade, you're getting a language, you're getting experience abroad, and it will be done in 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was my idea.
Yeah.
But what I was arguing for was revamping the education system to actually focus more on hands-on training or hands-on education, in addition to the fact that different education is being offered at the same time. So I think a lot of people have this negative perception and perspective of vocational training, right? Being a plumber or being in a, whatever, like
a blue collar job,
like a carpenter, like any
yeah.
like blue collar job.
Yeah.
But everybody, you need these jobs to
Yeah.
exist, right? And just because you work that job doesn't make you inferior
Yeah.
to anybody else, or
Yeah, yeah.
inferior to anybody with a degree. But
Yeah.
there seems to be that
They
complex.
make money too, man.
They
They,
make-
make money.
they make
Plumbers
They
make money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people who get their degrees and they're like, this is not really what I want to do, so maybe they want to do something else. And I think that by the time you finish that 5-year degree, for example, in my university, you could choose which one you want to do, or maybe you want to do both, right? And yeah,
You'll have something to fall back on because you're choosing a major essentially, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that's why it's 5 years. So you would be doing both in that 5-year period, and also studying abroad and also learning a language.
Right.
So maybe you're just like, hey, like I don't want to be in the States, but I want to go to this country and maybe do my, my work there. You should be able to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So anyway, so I was arguing that we need to revamp the education to be more hands-on training, to be more broad with our training and education, and also with the fact that we shouldn't be so limited to just one thing, because people can do double majors and that takes a little while longer, but I think that we don't place enough emphasis on vocational training, and we have separate colleges for vocational training, and I don't think that should be the case, because what we're essentially doing is separating workforces.
Right. Oh.
And when we're
Right.
separating workforces, we're also separating the fact that the mindsets, right?
Right.
If I have a degree, I am better than you.
Right.
White collar, blue collar, like that already exists in
Right.
our culture.
Yeah.
And having different schools, kind of creates a divide. So if you were to combine them, for
Yeah.
example, and then enhance it a little bit,
Yeah.
I think it would be beneficial.
Yeah.
So I did a paper on that. Yeah, there's just different things. And a lot of my colleagues have done more interesting things, in my opinion. More of my peers, I should say. So, yeah.
Like, what are some interesting things like that you can think of that your colleagues have like researched on, like some of the topics that they've touched on?
One of my peers, her name is Marissa. I won't put her last name out there just in case.
Yeah.
She
hot?
is amazing. Well, she is quite beautiful.
Oh, really?
But with that being said, her research was done on music and how music can bring people together
Interesting.
and solve conflict between people.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And then because my school focuses on a few different things: sustainable development, conflict transformation, international education, and then like management. Right? Those are the 4 main fields. So she does like conflict transformation like through music, which I think is interesting. And then my friend Tomoki, he also did some conflict transformation research when he was in Nepal, with like a lot of conflict that they did there, or they've had there in their communities. So
How was his experience in Nepal, man?
amazing.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So his paper is also very, very good. If you go online and read it, I guess you could say.
They say like that. Nepal's in India, right? Sorry.
No,
Just to make sure.
different. What's close to India?
Oh, it's close to India. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
close.
Good thing I made sure before I said something
Yeah.
stupid.
Where can we find these papers?
Online. Yeah, once we posted them once we posted them like on our like school website, it's automatically put online, or digital collections. So if you like type in our name or something like that, or the title of our paper, it should come up pretty easily. I don't know if the general public has access to it though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can I just read your paper?
I mean, I can just send it to you. Yeah. I don't know, actually. I don't know how that works. Something to look into. But the point that I'm trying to make is that lots of people have had lots of interesting research.
Yeah.
And some of them is like kind of generic, like that falls within our fields, and that's cool too. But you'd be surprised, like what types of cool things you can.
You gotta like come up with these things then, right? Like topics you want to write about.
Yes.
So that's like years and years of like thinking and research.
Yeah.
And
So
shit.
we have like
Shit, we said that,
we have like 1 to 5 years to do our research. Like that's generally how it works. So you have 1 year that you do your intensive work, like your course intensive work, and then you have 1 to 5 years to do your research. Most people get it done within like a year and a half. But some people take longer depending on what their research is about. So yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other ones. My friend Juanita, she did one on universal design. And universal design is interesting because she has certain disabilities, and there are a lot of other people with disabilities as well. So trying to create lesson plans and educational systems based around everybody's learning style, because there are different learning styles, and there's also like the multiple intelligences theory, for example. Like there are different types of intelligence.
Okay.
So for example, math might click
Sports
with this one person,
intelligence.
and science might click with this one person, for example.
Oh, okay.
So how are you going to educate and teach them based off of their intelligence, right? And sometimes you can't do that individually because you have a class of people. But what you can do is design lesson plans and design the educational classroom to cater, for example, to each of those students, but all in one setting. So that's one way of explaining it. And there's also like the experiential learning cycle, the ELC. So experiential learning is kind of like hands-on learning, for example. You did something hands-on. What did you gain from that experience? And what did you gain from that experience? What did you learn from that experience? And how are you going to use that experience in the future? Right? That's generally what it is. So yeah, and there's also universal design in the public, right? For example, not everybody can walk upstairs. So what do you make instead?
Not everybody can walk upstairs.
Yeah,
So what do you make instead?
Yeah, that's the question. Not everybody is physically able to walk upstairs. So what do you create instead of stairs?
They have those machines,
Yes, like what?
like those the
The wheelchairs that go up on a little
Yeah,
lift.
but you can't use a wheelchair to go up the stairs, right? So what do you make?
a ramp.
There you go. Right? That is one very small component of universal design, right? Not everybody can walk upstairs, but everybody could go up a ramp, even if you are in a wheelchair, for example. Elevators is another one that you could argue, is universal design. So different things. And even for like blind people, when they're at crosswalks, right? You might have Braille at the crosswalk, for example, right? Or deaf people, for example. They may not be able to hear.
Okay.
Or blind and deaf, for example. I'm messing these
Don't
up,
they
actually.
got those like bumps at the
Yeah, they might have those too. Exactly. So they
right?
might have
like on the floor.
Yes.
You know what I mean, right? The yellow
Yeah,
shits
that you can
here.
feel, yeah.
Yeah.
But how are you going to know when to cross, right? So there are
Oh,
certain
yeah, that's-
there's certain indicators. If you use universal design, there are certain indicators that can indicate to you like when is it okay to cross. Yeah. I think in Japan, actually, if I'm correct, there is like there's like a button or something you can plug in and you know when to cross. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember.
But you know how like in Korea here, like even like the bus information here at the bus stops, like there's for those of you who don't know, like in Korea we have like these monitors here and they're all like connected with the buses, so like you know exactly when the bus is coming.
Yeah.
So everything is all like connected like through the internet or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, whatever. So like what if like you can get one of these smartwatches to connect with that? I mean, connect with the traffic system.
Yeah.
And so like when you do have to cross, it just fucking vibrates, so you can actually feel that
Yeah,
shit.
you feel it, yeah.
And then you fucking go.
Yeah, right. So that would be
a good idea.
that would be an idea, right? And universal design is a very
Fucking innovator.
It's like a very general term, but it can be applied to education and it can be applied to everyday life, right? How are we going to make sure that the general public as a whole can benefit, right, from all of these things? And in general, when we're talking about education, we're definitely talking about different students. Some students may not be as intellectually capable as other students, right? But you don't necessarily want to leave them behind, right? So how are you going to help that student, right, without like making them feel bad,
Right.
And that's one way of doing it. But yeah, there's so many things that go into that. That's not my specialty, but there are people who specialize in that, like some of my peers. Yeah.
Do you feel like the traditional education system in most countries, like math, science, language arts,
Yeah.
those like that traditional style of education that we've literally had like taken since we were like 5 years old?
Yeah. What about it?
Do you think that traditional education system is appropriate for, like, you know, now, like the new up and coming children? Like if you were to have a kid one day,
Yeah.
like, do you think that she should be growing up learning math, science, language arts
Through the same
history?
system. Through the same system, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
saying?
I think they're all important. I think that there can be emphasis on some more than others. I value education significantly. With that being said, I also think that there's a lot of things that we learn in school that isn't really practical.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I think it would be good for students to pursue things that they're more interested in, rather than subjects that they may not be interested
So
in.
they get to choose not to. We're not talking about electives here.
Yeah.
They just choose their normal like classes, right?
I think that would be an experiment that would be worth
That was-
trying.
That's what I always thought too.
Yeah,
Like, did I fucking benefit from learning calculus?
right.
Yeah.
I don't use that shit. I will never use that shit ever.
There's that
Right.
too.
So, and
What's
the
that?
thing is that like, I mean, like
Well,
Montessori.
college is a business,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, that's true.
They want you to take those courses. There's a requirement
you
for a
have
reason.
like Montessori schools, for example. Montessori schools are very interesting.
Wait, what?
and then
What did you just say?
Montessori.
They have those in
What's
Korea
that?
too.
Yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Montessori schools are just like hands-on schools, essentially.
Oh, okay.
They allow the student to explore individually, and they're guided by teachers. They're not really taught traditionally. So, for example, you go into a traditional classroom, you have
Yeah.
a teacher, you have a whiteboard, for example,
Yeah,
and the teacher conveys the information to the student, right? Sender, receiver. In Montessori schools, you have the student who is given tasks and given materials and different things, and then the teacher just guides them, right? And he or she just lets the student explore, right? So, for example, I give you like 6 Legos. What can you do with these 6 Legos, right? The student does something with these 6 Legos, and then the teacher might be like, "How about you think about it like this? Why don't you try it like this?" Right? So you're just guiding the student to
Oh,
think about it
okay.
in different ways,
Yeah.
and then the student is able to utilize
You're
that.
just trying to like
And then go
spark
from
shit.
there. Yes, exactly. So, and that's just one aspect of Montessori schools. There's much more to it. But going back to what Joe was saying, I definitely think that if we gave students more choice to pursue their interests, I think we would have a much more different education system. And I think
Yeah.
that people would be happier. Because there was like a article, like statistically speaking, there's like 73% people in the United States who are not happy with their jobs, like who are and
I feel like it's
who,
more than that.
who are not happy with their jobs and
Yeah.
and are in fields that are not their own, right? So for example,
Right.
if you get a
But you're
degree
just
in-
doing it for security.
you're just
right?
doing it for security, you're just doing it for like to make money or whatever
You
reason.
got obligations. So
Absolutely. But I think that if we change the system around and we actually let people pursue their interests, I think it'll be interesting.
yeah, man. Like I mean, in the conventional system, like there's only so much you could be interested in, right? It's just a set like curriculum that they give you. You
Yeah.
know, and like a lot of people like they learn their interests outside of school through
Exactly.
real experiences or through whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to actually bring those experiences from outside and bring it into the classrooms.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
because right, if you think about it right now, like all the things that you're interested in right now, were they from school? Maybe not. You know what I mean? A lot
I
of them
think
maybe
so.
aren't from school, and
think
because
most
I'm
of them were
speaking for
not.
myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I wasn't interested in math. I didn't want to become a mathematician. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, just saying.
But I feel like one thing that kids have to be educated from an early age,
Yes.
this is so important, is financial education. How to fucking manage your money.
Yeah.
Because you graduate college and they just put
It's
you
never
out.
taught to you.
They put you out and they just tell
That's
you to get
true.
these jobs.
You're
and then
never
they tell
taught
you to-
that.
I guess
tell you to
they're
get married.
expecting your parents to do that part.
But
Yeah, I
parents
don't
don't know either. Like
know.
you're
Some
saying,
parents
like,
don't.
But even
Yeah.
if you think about it, like the majority of a child's life is spent in school.
That's true.
Yeah.
exactly.
So they should learn it because
especially
they
in
are learning.
Korea. So
especially in
Yeah.
Korea.
Especially
and
in
they're
Korea.
here like learning useless shit. I mean, English is really important, but like math, spending years and years in math.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
they
agree.
should bring that in. They should try to bring that into math,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I agree. I think we
like
need
what
to
a mortgage is.
we need to provide the foundation.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
need to provide
absolutely.
a foundation
More
for
real
students.
life, like
Yeah,
practical
more
things.
practical
yeah.
things.
Like
Yes.
you graduate college. This is what you're gonna be dealing with after
Right.
college.
Right.
You're gonna be dealing with a mortgage.
Yes.
Your child's education,
Yeah.
bonds, like investments. Teach them
Right.
about these basic shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so
I
they
agree.
know
I
they
agree.
have the financial tools
Yeah.
to save up and provide a better life for them.
And wouldn't you say
family.
like a lot of like high school students don't know what they're exactly getting into?
Nobody
like, you know what I mean?
knows.
Everyone crams in like, yeah, after high school you gotta try to get your ass into college, right, and get a job, right? But
You don't know why.
but yeah, you just all you think is okay, and you
Yeah.
just do
Yeah.
it. You just
Yeah.
fucking do it.
Yeah,
but
without-
do they really know what gets tied in with that?
No.
With the
No.
financial burden, the whatever, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
No,
what
and-
are you getting yourself into?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and I think that we also need to revamp standardized testing because I think that's a huge weakness
Like
that we have as well.
SATs? Are you serious? Like
Fuck Sats.
Yeah.
Jesus
Fuck
Christ.
that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, like there is so many things that could be revamped in the United States.
Too
and
many.
And the
Too
United States
many.
education system's not even on top anymore.
It's
I
not.
mean, we're
Yeah.
pretty low on the scale. When I say pretty, I mean we're definitely higher than other countries. But in terms of like,
No. We're like ranked 8th now.
yeah, we've
That's
lost.
still pretty good,
It's still pretty
right?
good, but it's not as good
But
as
we
it
used
should
to be number 1.
We have the resources and the capabilities
That's
to
true.
be number 1, but we rather spend
We
our money on-
allocate our resources in the wrong
wrong
places.
areas.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Totally
getting
agree.
like employees from other countries like India and largely Asia.
right.
That's why Trump's like he's going crazy because like pretty much like we're spending so much money on these outsiders coming in and there's
Right.
like pretty much like Americans are just stupid as fuck, so like they're not getting hired in the country.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean that's one of the
That's-
reasons.
What
problem.
about? I'm wondering, like, who
problem.
makes up Silicon Valley? Is it
Silicon
mostly
Valley.
like Asians, like Chinese and Indians, or is it
No,
like,
it's-
or is it a mix?
Anybody
A lot
with a STEM degree.
It's
is in
definitely a
Silicon
mix,
Valley.
man.
It's
It's definitely a diverse group.
Oh, really?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very
Oh,
diverse
oops.
group.
Okay.
We're not talking about like just Asians here.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
I mean, anybody with like a STEM degree, in my opinion, is pretty much in Silicon Valley. Like that's the place to be. And there's tons of startups and tons of opportunities for people to explore and go through. So
I would love to go. I would love to live there.
be super
Shit, you know
cool.
what I'm saying?
Super expensive though.
We should just go there and just be like fucking.
Fuck,
just
what's
like-
up, motherfuckers? Yeah, like that.
to invest?
Yeah, yeah. But to be honest with you, again, like I mean, we're all Americans here, so I think that we all believe that we should change the American education system.
Yeah.
It could be significantly better. We should try new experiments. We should really heed what teachers say because we really don't heed what teachers say a lot of the times. And then we should also be open to different types of teaching styles because there's a lot of different teaching styles. And we should also adhere and listen to students because students are the learners, right?
True.
And we don't listen to students enough.
They're the
we
feedback.
think that exactly. We think that we know everything and as adults and as teachers, and I think that's a problem. So there's so many things that we can improve on that we just don't, and we could.
I
do
guess
better.
everyone's just stuck on the system, and so therefore it just like it compromises like
Yeah,
everything else.
Exactly. I mean, we also have like this anachronistic thinking as well. Like oh well, we've been doing this for like hundreds of years.
So
and-
this is the only way.
This is
and
the
it
only
should
way
be
It's not
that
the
we
right
can do
way.
it.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
but yeah. But
fuck?
but it needs to be challenged, like, and
Yeah.
that's part of learning and that's part of education, like
Yeah.
learning,
Yeah.
right? Changing things. If this method doesn't work anymore, you try a new method,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How can we? Yes, this might work, but what can work better? Like being able to utilize these things and actually implement them, I think is beneficial, and we
Yeah.
just haven't done that enough. So.
That's cool, man. I like what you're doing, man. Like you researching all this shit, and like I feel like you.
One of many.
I think, but still, like I think you have a good intention. I'm thinking, I'm like, are you trying to like make a positive social impact? Is that what your intentions are?
Hell yeah, man.
I'm trying
course.
to. I think
Yeah.
everybody should. and-
That's awesome, man.
I think everybody has the capability of doing
Yeah,
doing that.
I mean, but you're
Even
going
in a
like
small
all
way.
out, man.
I wouldn't say that. No. Well, thank you for your kind words.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I think that everybody has the capability of making a social impact. I mean, it can just be as easy as smiling at somebody. That could make a huge.
No, but you're
impact.
doing like some real shit.
That's real. I mean, A smile is real shit too, man.
You're fucking a researcher, bro.
A smile is real, you know. But I'm an amateur researcher. There's people who are way better than me, for example.
Ah, come on, man. Don't be so humble.
Oh well, thank you, but thank you. But also think about the fact think about the fact that you're a teacher too. You can also have these positive impacts. I mean,
Yeah.
and you were a teacher as well. Like, I mean, you know that some of the material that you were teaching, you're like, why the fuck am I teaching this? You know, like, are they really retaining all this information?
Yeah,
You know,
take a chance, try something new.
take a chance, try something. In my school right now, we're doing graphic novels. We're going through
Oh
different graphic
shit,
novels.
that's new.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it took a little
Koreans don't
convincing.
do that shit.
It took a little convincing, but like, you know, I said, hey, like, let's try this. There's research that has
You're
shown this.
awesome,
Like,
bro.
let's do this. Like, maybe you could try it too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
The status quo needs to be challenged. That is how we evolve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
humans,
yeah.
like, we need to do that.
Dude,
So,
I like talking to you, man. I feel like my IQ went up, bro.
is there a way we can test this? How can we test this IQ?
But anyways, yo,
Split
let's
his
get
brain
fucked
open.
up. It's New Year's,
Yeah.
man. It's time to get going.
yeah,
Let's drink on the subway right there.
can we do that?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
it's legal
you
as
know,
fuck.
oh yeah, shit, you're right. We're in Korea.
Yeah, come on, man.
Dude, you know what?
Get on
let's
with
go.
it.
Yeah, sorry. We can talk about this later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Soju and
Alright.
Coke.
Soju and Coke.
Dude, I go to the
Actually,
PC
sounds
bong.
pretty good.
I go to the PC bong. So what I do is I go to like 7-Eleven. I buy like a bottle of soju, buy a bottle of Coke. I leave. I drink like half that soju bottle.
Ooh.
Drink half the Coke.
And then you mix.
and then
You
I
put
mix
that shit in,
and I go straight into the PC bong. I
Yeah.
put on Overwatch.
You're good, huh?
and you're good to go.
And I'm like cursing Koreans out in English. And they're cursing me out in Korean.
How often
like,
do you do that
Fuck
shit?
you, motherfucker. I'm like, yo, fuck you too. And fuck your mom while we're at it, bitch. Yeah.
You play League of Legends?
No.
Oh, okay.
How often you go to PC Bang and do that shit?
To be honest with you, not often.
just
I
find the
have
time.
my own gaming
Sounds
computer,
fun.
so I just play. at
Oh
home.
shit.
Yo, his equipment is a shit.
Yeah, my stuff's
It's a
pretty
good shit.
Alienware?
Yeah.
What you got?
No, MSI.
Oh, MSI. Okay.
MSI. I like MSI.
Cool,
I mean, Alienware is okay too.
Yeah. Oh shit.
No,
MSI is better. No,
hey,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's better. I mean, it depends on what computer, like the specs and shit like that. But I like MSI. It's pretty good. Pretty good brand, affordable. Yeah, good quality. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's good for me. I recently just got into PUBG. If you guys
PUBG?
are like Player Unknown Battlegrounds.
Not really,
It's like the fucking
gaming.
hit.
Oh,
yeah.
that
I like-
recently came out, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's been
Well,
talking
it's-
about it, right?
Was it
The-
first person shoot? I like first person
The
shit.
public access has been out for a while. The official game is now out. So I recently got into PC gaming. So since I'm in Korea, I've gotten
Yeah.
into like what a lot of Koreans play.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm still like a console gamer. Like I bought
Yeah.
like $200 worth of games.
Fuck
for,
yeah.
like,
Call of Duty. Hello.
I've been
COD,
like, I'm
man.
not
Oh,
on the
what
Call
are
of
you
Duty
into?
train.
What are you into?
Well, dude, currently I just finished Pyre by Supergiant Games. They made like Bastion and Transistor, phenomenal games, indie games, like phenomenal.
Oh, okay.
Pyre was great. I'm been
You get it from the PlayStation Store?
yeah, PlayStation
Oh,
Store.
okay.
Yeah, I played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice right now, so that's pretty good. But I have like
You play any JRPGs, by the way?
my favorite. This is my I bought.
What do you like,
I
man?
bought Persona 5. I can't wait to play
Oh,
that.
shit.
I have Final Fantasy 15. I can't wait to play that. Nier Automata.
Yo,
I can't
Final
wait to play
Fantasy,
that.
that's my shit, bro.
Let's talk.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite Final Fantasy? Last question.
That's tough.
Oh, come on,
I
man.
don't know.
Give it to the people,
There's
man.
so many.
All these.
Nah,
all
nah,
of the
man.
above.
You gotta.
There's a lot. It's
You gotta
not
pick
that
one,
easy,
man. You gotta pick one before we go.
I can't pick one.
Out of
Maybe-
out of the PS1 games,
Fuck.
7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9.
Maybe Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Wow. That's when you know he's
War
a
of the
true
Lions.
Final Fantasy dude. When he says tactics, he doesn't say 7, 8. Yo, man.
Final Fantasy
It was
Tactics.
awesome, bro.
War of the Lions.
Let me
Yeah.
get on this,
It's
man.
an
I don't
amazing
know
game.
what this is, but
I don't. And some people say, "Oh no, you can't." Some people say, "Oh no, you can't include Tactics." Why the fuck not? Final Fantasy
Why the
Tactics
fuck
is
not?
a phenomenal game.
PS1 game, but it
So
was
good.
actually it was
was ported
originally what was it?
Yeah,
the
PS1.
one before.
No, it was originally PS1.
No. It was it was on an older format, wasn't it? Yeah,
I don't think so.
I
but
think
don't
so.
know.
I might be wrong. We both might be wrong.
both
Who
might be wrong. I don't know.
fucking knows?
Yeah, but
All
7
right.
is great, 8 is great, 9 is great.
Yeah.
I mean that's PS1, but 6 I haven't played all the way through 6, but apparently 6 is great as well. 4 I've got through like half of, and 4 is a lot of fun. So it's tough, man.
I just like 7, 8, 9, 10.
Seven,
That's it,
seven
man.
has
That's a wrap.
has a deep place in my heart. So if I
Yeah.
had to choose between 7, 8, and 9 on PS1 games,
Mm-hmm.
or between 1 and 9, it would be Tactics first, and then probably 7 next.
Yeah.
Probably.
Same here.
Yeah, probably. So
There
I
you
know.
go.
Alright,
let's go,
folks.
guys. Let's go.
yo, we
Alright,
gotta
let's
wrap
get
up. But we
pooped.
want to have Jamal on again because there's some other topics that we should definitely talk about
we
more.
Just do it tomorrow.
You got it.
We can do
you
it
got
tomorrow
Yo,
before
why
I
the fuck
leave.
not? Okay,
Yeah, part
We just
2.
talk about
You
other
got a
shit.
Twitter.
Fucking-
You got a whatever Instagram. You twerk. What do you do on the weekends? Like,
I don't.
So,
twerk. I'm
Jamal,
still
tell
learning
about your-
how to do that. Once I learn how to do that, I'll do
Tell
it
them
for
about your
you.
professional twerking, like your videos that you have.
I don't really have a nice ass for it, but I try my best. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
so-
nothing. They can't follow you.
So you can.
Dude, he's
You're
like-
exclusive.
I have an
Versus me.
Instagram, but I don't use it. The only reason why I use Instagram is to follow like tattoo artists. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
personally use it.
Oh, okay.
I have a Twitter for my podcast, which is at Loving Life Pod.
Okay,
So
there
you
you
can
go.
follow that. I'm not as active on there.
At Loving
There's
Life
a Facebook
Pod.
page, Loving Life Podcast. So follow that. But other than that, I try not to be on the internet as much.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not my
You're
shit.
just like
Yeah.
me, man.
Yeah.
That's
Just
awesome,
fucking cave
man.
animals.
Yeah, I mean, but the internet is a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah, for surely
For
is.
porn. Yeah. All right.
let's go.
Well,
Exactly.
there you guys have it.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Yo, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. Peace.
Nice pink blanket. I like it.